February is Heart Month, and in the U.S. this week, it's observed as Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. So today on 10 Minutes to Your Health, we asked pediatric cardiologist Dr. Tamara Tomlinson Morris to tell us about this condition. Good morning, Doc. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Delia. Good morning. Good morning, Neville.
Morning, Doc. You're born with it?
Yes, that's what congenital means. Congenital means that it's something that you're born with. So it's in the development of the baby, something happened, and then some of the arrangements of the heart weren't quite normal. You can get holes in the heart. That's what most people commonly know it as. You can get narrowings. You can get abnormal arrangements of the heart. And all of this affects how the heart works and how blood is circulated around the body.
Yeah, you said something happened. Can you tell what happened or no?
No, not necessarily. There's a complex term called embryology where the heart and the whole body is being developed. So many things are happening at so many times at different times. Making a newborn is a complex procedure, once the initial act is done. And so many things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what are some of the causes, Doc?
All right, well, it's difficult to identify a cause per se, but we can say that certain people or mothers are predisposed to having it, meaning that they have risk factors that cause the child to have a higher risk of having a congenital heart defect.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, the more common ones are like when a mother has diabetes, sugar, diabetes mellitus. So when they have sugar, especially if they have sugar before the pregnancy, the risk is even higher.
Wow.
If the mother is on medication, like such as anti-seizure, anti-fix medication, what we call anti-epileptic, so fix medicine, some of those, some of the skin medications that are quite common now, like the retinoids, some of those can cause that. If they're on antipsychotic meds, medication for nerves, her head not too right, as Jamaicans tend to say, unfortunately. If you're on some of those mental health medications, some of those can also predispose you. If you smoke, if you drink, of course, those are things that can also cause a child to have higher risk of having a heart defect.
Yeah, and a chromosomal...
Yes, definitely. The most common chromosomal or gene problem that happens is what we call trisomy 21 or Down syndrome. That is quite common. It's the most common chromosomal abnormality anywhere in the world. And those children specifically have a very high risk of having congenital heart disease. About 50% of them have congenital heart disease. So usually once a child is born with Down syndrome, we automatically, one of the things that we have to do is check the heart.
They have to live with it for the rest of their lives?
Well, no, they don't. Yes and no. So most children, a few of the conditions will go away by themselves. So sometimes some of the holes will close, sometimes some of the narrowings will get wider. Some children will need medication for a long time. And then some children may need what we call intervention, something to do about it. So we either have what we call catheterization, which can, it's like a keyhole surgery really, that can close some holes, can widen some narrowings. And then we have major surgery where you really have to open the child's chest and repair whatever defect is there. However, I must say, sometimes people think that once we do that or that surgery is done, let me be clear, because I'm not a surgeon, I'm a cardiologist, so I diagnose and I manage up to the point where the surgeon can take over, and then I take back the child after the surgery is done. But I don't actually do the actual surgery. But after the surgery is done, we still have to follow these children. So sometimes parents will not show up for years after the surgery until something happens. Because the heart was not normal to begin with, I sometimes tell the parents it's never going to be normal, but we're going to make it as normal as possible.
And so it's something that has to be monitored all the time.
Most of the conditions need to be monitored after.
One of the things I'd like to say to people, Doc, is that Jamaica has advanced so much with technology as far as heart issues are concerned. So for parents who are watching this morning, they can rest a little bit easier that here in Jamaica there's access to diagnosis and treatment. Isn't that correct?
Yes, definitely. We have cardiologists. So I'm also at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. and we have another cardiologist there. So we have, and we see all the children in the island, by and large, maybe 95% of them come through there. And we make the diagnoses, we start the management, and then we try to get them on a track to some sort of definitive management, surgery, catheterization, whatever it is that we can offer. So yes, we do have a brand new, well, not brand new anymore, but it's a very new high-tech catheterization laboratory at Bustamante. And we usually do procedures there along with some of our overseas partners from Chain of Hope, UK. And these are internationally renowned people that come and work alongside us to help some of the children. So that is good because usually they go home the following day, the chest isn't open, parents are very happy, and we get really, really good results.
Yeah. Doctor,
yes, sorry, go ahead.
sorry to jump in. Dr. Tamara, you've already said that you're born with it. Do you know that you're born with it?
Most people don't know. So how do you know if your child is born with it? So sometimes at birth, like, if the child obviously has something like Down syndrome, then the doctor will say, certainly let's do the heart check. The doctor at that time also, usually though, in the first few weeks of life, it's not readily picked up because there are a lot of changes that happen in the baby's body in that first 6 weeks of life. So you may have a very big hole, but because of what is happening, what we know happening, what we say physiologically, what is happening normally in the body and the changes, it may not be picked up immediately, but some of the things that you should look out for as a parent, especially as the child approaches close to the 4-week, 6-week mark, if your child is short of breath when feeding, if your child sweats with feeds, so that is work for the child. So that is like me trying to challenge Shelley and Fraser, the pocket rocket. That's what would happen to me. So that's excess work for the baby. So the baby will be short of breath, the baby will be sweating with feeds, the baby will pause with feeds. Other things you can look for if the baby turns blue sometimes, what we call cyanosis. So there's blueness of the lips, the tongues, the fingers, the toes. That's what the parents will notice. And some babies also will not thrive, so they won't gain weight. So they'll, mom will say, boy, doctor, the baby just not gaining weight. And every time I try to feed him and then can't manage the feeds. So those are some of the clues as the baby gets older, or the child gets older, because some conditions are picked up much later. As the child gets older, they may get tired easily. You might see them squatting a lot. Things like that. So those are some of the things that you need to look out for and report to your doctor. And if the baby's breathing fast, of course.
Until you know what's going on, can the child die?
That's a tough one, Neville. Usually, I think we have a lot of we have a lot of pediatricians out there now. The health centers are staffed. The hospitals are definitely staffed. Even all the peripheral hospitals have a lot of pediatricians. So we find at Bustamante that we're getting a lot more patients because they're being picked up much earlier, and so they come to us early for management.
Well, let me ask the same question a different way. Can the child die from it, period? I mean, can you die?
Yes, a child can die, yes. You can have a heart that is so bad that we can't make over the heart. So you can have the heart, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. The heart has what we call 4 chambers. Some patients might just have 2 chambers. There's no way we can make 2 chambers.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay.
Some people can have severe malformations, severe switching of vessels and twisting and turnings and narrowings and quite complex combinations that we really can't do anything about.
Yeah. Does this put the child at a higher risk of heart problems, Doc?
Sorry?
Does this put the child at a higher risk of heart problems as they mature?
Does what? Having a complex heart?
The congenital heart defect. As you get older and become more mature, is it something that you have to constantly monitor because it puts you at higher risk?
Yes, you have to monitor. So if you are, lucky enough to have it, have some repair, some intervention, we still follow you. And then there are some things that we have to allow to evolve. And so as time goes along, different things may happen, different sequelae or complications that can happen. And so, yes, you are at a higher risk for different things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Final question, Dr. Tamara. How prevalent is it?
About 1 in 100 children in Jamaica are born with it.
That is plenty enough, no?
Yes, but most of them don't require anything.
Okay.
Most of them won't require, usually it's time and love and care. and those will close or the narrowings will get wider. But then there's a smaller percentage that definitely needs some sort of intervention and long-term follow-up or medication.
Okay.
All right. And in terms of physical activity, will that limit the child's participation in things like sport or the arts, anything else that requires that kind of physical activity?
Yeah, it all depends on what the problem is. The defect is, the lesion is. It really depends on what the lesion is. So if we have lesions that we call obstructive, especially that are blocked up, that the vessels are blocked or so, those definitely are the ones that you would want the child to be restricted. So you tend to channel your children more towards, artistic endeavors, or cerebral endeavors like chess, dance, not dancing, but music, flute, other things that they can enjoy, reading, still to ensure that the child can have, a full life. That is the aim, to make the life of the child as full as possible.
All right.
Brilliantly explained. Great to see you. God bless. Stay safe.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, our pleasure. Dr. Tamara Tomlinson-Morris, pediatric cardiologist.
The details on the Jamaica Creative Career Expo will come after this break.
All right, 10 minutes to your help. We'll do it again